You know, usually when we talk about an economic crisis on this show, we're talking about stock markets, right? Or housing bubbles, maybe supply chains.
Right, banks or tech stocks.
But there is this slow motion economic disaster happening right now in West Africa that has nothing to do with any of that.
No banks, no crypto, just a fly.
A fly. Specifically, the tsetse fly.
And the microscopic hitman it carries.
Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we are looking at a battle that has been raging for, well, literally thousands of years. It's between a parasite and a cow. And based on the research we're unpacking today, a major 2026 study from Scientific Reports, we might be betting on the wrong cow.
We really might be.
Yeah.
This study is fascinating because it's not just about biology or agriculture. It's about a genetic treasure map that is burning up before we've even finished reading it.
And the disease is called African Animal Trypanosomiasis, AAT.
AAT, yeah. It sounds kind of bureaucratic, but the reality is brutal.
How brutal.
I mean, it costs the African continent billions of dollars annually. It can slash livestock productivity by up to 50%.
50%, wow.
Yeah, imagine a factory where half the machines just stop working every year, or they work at half speed. That's the reality for farmers in sub-Saharan Africa.
And the way it works is just nasty. A parasite gets in the blood, destroys red blood cells, causes anemia, fever.
It basically just drains the life right out of the animal. Exactly.
And this is the twist, right? This is what drives the whole study.
This is the twist.
Some cows seem to have an invisibility cloak. Or maybe a force field.
Yeah, super cows, you could call them. This scientific term is trypanotolerant.
Super cows, I like it.
They're these indigenous breeds in West and Central Africa that can get infected by this deadly parasite and just keep on grazing.
They shrug it off.
They just handle it. They don't get a fever. They don't stop making milk. It's incredible.
Which is wild. I mean, if I got malaria, which is kind of similar, I'd be in bed for a week or worse. So the mission for today is to figure out how.
Right. How do they do it?
We've got this massive data set, genotypes from over 1,000 cattle across 17 different breeds. We're going to crack open their DNA and find out what makes them bulletproof.
And we really have to hurry, because the other part of this story is that these super cows, they're going extinct.
Okay, we'll get to the why of that in a minute, because that is a tragedy in itself. But first, let's set the stage. Who are the players in this pasture?
It's really a tale of two migrations. On one side, you have the locals. These are the Boels Taurus breeds.
The taurine cattle.
Exactly. Breeds like the Namchi, the Bolé, the Ndama. They're humpless. They look a bit like the cows you might see in, European cave paintings, but smaller.
And they've been in West Africa for millennia.
They evolved alongside the tsetse fly. They've paid their dues.
They're the veterans, small, sturdy, adapted to the local pests.
Precisely. Then, much later, you have the newcomers. The Boels Taurus indicus.
The zebu.
The zebu. These ones with the big hump on their back, the classic sort of tropical cow look. They came from Asia. They're taller, they're bigger, they generally produce more milk and meat, but, and it's a huge but, they are completely naive to the tsetse fly.
They haven't paid their dues.
Not at all. They are trypanosusceptible. If a zebu gets bitten, it gets all the classic symptoms: fever, wasting, often death.
So it's a classic trade-off then. You have the taurine breeds, let's call them the David, small, tough, resilient. Or you can have the zebu the Goliath. Big, productive, but if a tiny fly lands on him, he just topples over.
That's the perfect way to frame it.
Yeah.
And if you're a farmer, living on the edge of poverty, who do you choose?
Well, my logic says I'd want the one that doesn't die, but I'm guessing the market pays by weight.
Precisely. The market pays by weight and by milk volume.
Yeah.
So farmers look at the little Namchi cow and say, that's not profitable enough.
They prefer the big zebu because when it's healthy, it makes them more money.
So they roll the dice. And worse, they've been ditching the small, resilient Namchi cows and replacing them. Or they crossbreed them, hoping to get the best of both worlds.
But biology doesn't really work that way, does it? You don't always get the best. Sometimes you get the worst of both.
You really do. And the numbers here are terrifying. The Namchi breed, which is kind of the star of our show today because of its incredible immune system, it's down to fewer than 7,000 pure individuals.
7,000? That's nothing. That's endangered species territory.
It is. We're watching thousands of years of evolutionary R&D just vanish because the packet it comes in isn't big enough.
Okay, so those are the stakes. We are losing the code, so let's dig into the code before it's gone. The researchers here, they use some heavy-duty math, things with acronyms like IHS and XPEHH.
Acronym SOUP. but very important soup.
Delicious acronym, soup. But if you strip away the jargon, what are they actually looking for? How do you scan the DNA of 1,000 cows and spot a superpower?
Okay, imagine you're looking at a library of books. That's the cow's history. Most of the pages change randomly over time, typos, little edits here and there.
Yep.
That's just normal genetic drift.
Okay, random noise.
But if a specific paragraph is essential for survival, like, say, the chapter on how to survive the tsetse fly, nature locks that paragraph down.
Yeah.
Everyone who survives has that exact version. The variation disappears
Why?
because the alternative is death.
So it's like, if you looked at 1,000 student textbooks and every single one had the same sentence highlighted in bright neon yellow, you'd know, okay, that's going to be on the test.
Exactly. That's called a selective sweep.
Mm-hmm.
The researchers are hunting for those neon highlights. And when they compared the David cows, the Namche, to the Goliath cows,
Zebu.
they found two completely different survival strategies.
This was the part that just blew my mind. I always assumed having a good immune system meant you fought hard. You go to war.
Right.
But that's not really what the resistant cows are doing, is it?
Not at all. And this changes how we think about disease. Let's look at the susceptible cows first, the zebu. When they get infected, their genome lights up with genes like HSPH1, HSPA6, and
IL-1B, that's interleukin, isn't it? That's
Okay.
inflammation.
That's the body's fire alarm. And the HSP genes are heat shock proteins.
Which leads.
It means their cells are completely stressed out. Heat shock proteins are what your body makes when proteins are unraveling because of fever or toxins. Basically, the zebu strategy is just panic mode.
Scorched earth.
Yeah. There's an invader. Burn it all down. Fever, inflammation.
But wait, isn't that what an immune system is supposed to do? Kill the bad guy?
In theory, yes. But biological warfare is expensive. Generating a fever takes a huge amount of calories. Inflammation damages your own tissues.
So that's why the zebu stopped growing and stopped making milk. They're spending their entire budget on the war effort.
Exactly. It's a Pyrrhic victory.
Yeah.
They might kill some parasites, but they destroy their own factory in the process.
Okay, so that's Goliath. Flailing around, burning energy, wrecking the machinery. Now, let's look at the Namche, the Zen master. What did their genome highlight?
Something totally different. No canic genes lighting up. Instead, the study pointed to a gene called PKNOX2 and a family of genes called SPINKSHUM.
Spink. It sounds cute. I'm guessing it isn't.
Stands for serine peptidase inhibitor Cazal type.
Okay, I see why they call it Spink. Break that down for us. What's a peptidase inhibitor?
So think about how the parasite works. The trypanosome releases these enzymes called proteases. They're like tiny chemical scissors.
Nasty.
And they cut through the cow's tissues, degrade proteins, help the parasite invade and feed. They're literally cutting their way through the cow.
Okay.
Now, the SPINK genes create inhibitors. They're basically safety guards for those scissors. They just stop the parasite's enzyme from working.
Whoa. So instead of launching a missile, the Namche just disarms the enemy. Oh, you brought scissors. I brought a rock.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
A PKNOX2. That's a regulator. It helps keep the immune system balanced. It basically says, okay, team, we know the parasite is here. Don't freak out. Don't spike a fever. Just maintain the barriers.
Homeostasis.
Homeostasis. The Namche cows tolerate the parasite. They don't waste energy on a fever. They just patch the holes on the wall and keep eating grass.
That is such a profound shift in how I think about this. Resistance isn't just killing the bug.
Yeah.
It's learning to live with the bug without letting it wreck you.
And it's smarter.
What?
Because if you don't get sick, you don't lose weight. You stay productive. The cow basically says, I see you, parasite. You can stay, but you can't break anything.
There was another layer to this, though. The study pointed to chromosome 29. Apparently, this is a very busy neighborhood in the Namche genome.
It is. PKNOX2 lives there.
Ick.
But right next door, they found genes like CCNA2 and ANXA5.
And for those of us who haven't memorized the bovine genome,
Those are genes involved in hematopoiesis,
making blood.
specifically red blood cells.
Yeah.
And remember, the main symptom of this disease is anemia. The parasite destroys the blood cells.
So, okay, let me see if I have this right. The Namche strategy is a three-part harmony. 1, don't panic. That's the immune regulation. 2, disarm the parasite, the tissue protection from Spink.
Right.
And 3, print more money.
Print more money.
Yeah, if the parasite is destroying blood cells, spending the cow's cash, the Namche just makes new ones faster.
That's actually a perfect analogy.
Yeah.
They outpace the loss. It's this multi-layered defense system that took thousands of years to perfect. Not just one gene, it's a symphony.
And yet we are messing up the music.
We are. Which brings us back to that admixture problem.
This was the saddest graph in the paper for me. They looked at the genetic purity of these breeds. And purity here isn't about snobbery. It's about whether that evolutionary toolkit is still intact.
Correct. They ran an analysis basically checking the ancestry of each cow. And they found that even the Namche cattle in Cameroon are David. They're already about 30% Zebu genetically.
30%, so they're already hybrids.
Roughly, yes. And for other breeds, it's worse. The Kuri breed is a total mix. The Adamagadali is basically an Indian cow now.
But wait, why is that so bad? If I mix a Ferrari with a tractor, don't I get a fast tractor or a tough Ferrari?
In genetics,
Yeah.
usually you just get a broken Ferrari. See, these genes, PKNOX2, the blood genes, the SPINK genes, they all work together. Evolution has packaged them together over millennia. But when you breed a Namche with a Zebu, you start shuffling the deck.
You break up the package.
You break it up. Maybe you keep the PKNOX2 gene, but you lose the blood-making genes. And suddenly the whole strategy collapses. The cow doesn't panic, but he still dies of anemia because it can't replace its blood cells.
That is terrifying. It's like taking a finely tuned machine apart and replacing random gears with parts that just don't fit.
And once those gene combinations are broken, you can't just hit undo. We are diluting the cure before we've even learned how to bottle it.
So what do we do? I mean, we can't just tell farmers to stop trying to make money. They want the big cows because they need to feed their families.
No, absolutely not. And that's why this study is so important. It isn't just about history. It's a toolkit for the future. This is breeding 2.0.
Genomic selection.
Right. Now that we have the map, we know PKNOS2 is on chromosome 29, we know where the SPINK genes are, we can cheat.
Cheat how?
We can take the big productive Zebu and we can deliberately breed in just those resistance markers from the Namche.
So we're not just mashing two cows together and hoping for the best. This is precision engineering.
Exactly. We're trying to build a super hybrid, a cow with the body of a Goliath, but the immune system of a David.
That sounds like the holy grail of sustainable farming.
Is? And think about the climate angle, too. The world's getting hotter. The Zebu are actually great at handling heat. Remember those heat shock proteins? They're adapted to heat stress.
Right.
If we can combine that heat tolerance with the Namche's disease tolerance, we can help secure food for millions of people in a warming world. But we can only do that if we save the source material, the Namche.
It really changes how you look at native or indigenous breeds, doesn't it? I think there's this bias that modern commercial breeds are just better.
Yeah.
They're like the iPhone 16 and the old breeds are the flip phone.
That is such a dangerous mindset. A flip phone might not have apps, but you could drop it off a building and it still works.
Or in this case, the flip phone has a battery that lasts forever and is waterproof.
Exactly. These indigenous breeds are reservoirs of high-tech biological solutions. Nature spent thousands of years engineering a cow that can survive a deadly parasite without medicine. We are only just now, in 2026, able to read the manual.
And if we burn that manual, if the Namche goes extinct, we are stuck with the panic button.
We're stuck with drugs, chemicals, and sick animals. And remember, parasites evolve too. If the drugs stop working and we've lost the genetic resistance, we're in big trouble.
It makes you wonder what else is hiding out there in the barnyard.
Oh, absolutely. We focused on cows today. But there are indigenous chickens, goats, sheep, all over the world adapted to their own specific local nightmares.
And every time one of those breeds gets replaced by a generic commercial version because it lays, I don't know, 10% more eggs,
We lose a potential medical miracle. We
Yeah.
do. It's like burning a library to make room for a wallpaper store. We lose the knowledge.
a sobering thought, but also a call to action. The genes are there, the map is drawn. We just need to be smart enough to save them and then use them.
Biology has the answers.
Mm-hmm.
We just have to ask the right questions and, respect the diversity that evolution gave us.
That's it for this deep dive. Next time you see a cow, maybe give it a little nod of respect. You never know what kind of cellular war it's fighting and winning on the inside. Thanks for listening.
Yeah, next time.